All right, welcome back, everyone. Episode number 28. Today, I've got a special edition holiday podcast for you guys with Mujahid Hemani. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate it. So I thought we'd make this a little bit more fun because the holidays are coming up. Take a break from real estate and interest rate talks. You know, it kind of gets boring sometimes. So we'll keep it light today. Mujahid's going to talk about the halal food scene in the GTA. So the next 2 weeks, as you guys are going for your holidays, you can check out some of these spots that Mujahid recommends. And I'll kind of get right into it, Mujahid. Talk about how you got involved in the food scene when it comes to halal food, and talk about the evolution that has happened throughout the years. Like, both of us has been not born, but I was born in Pakistan, but I came in when I was 4 years old. And obviously things have just exploded. So talk about that and what you've seen.
Yeah, so for me, passion of cooking, actually. Like, nice. Since I was a young age, I learned how to make tea for the first time in the microwave. My grandfather taught me, and toast. Like, that was my go-to breakfast every single day. And just after-school programs with, like, cooking shows more than anything else. Saturday was for cartoons. During the week was for cooking shows. And passion for cooking, at a young age. And passion for eating. I'm a big guy, everyone knows that, but I just love eating food. And people enjoy watching me eating food, believe it or not. And I wanted to get into something for a while on the creative side of things. And luckily, right now, I'm working with two other people, Mateen Manik and Samir Datu, on Halal Street Eats. Nice. Check us out on Instagram. It just so happened it landed in my lap, and I was like, okay, let's roll with it. Yeah. But since doing a couple of projects here and there, people have come to me as their go-to halal guy. So it's awesome because, again, me being born and raised in Toronto, I've seen the development of the halal food scene. Right. So, being a late 80s, early 90s child, we didn't have many options. Yeah. Like, you grew up eating at home, and then going out for dinner was more of a luxury. Yeah. Coming from immigrant parent background and everything too, it's you do what you can, and then you enjoy. You go out with friends. My parents had a massive family group and everything too. All of us kids, we would go out for dinners all together, and you kind of go to places that have like family style. Yeah. So like one of the fondest memories growing up is going to your, I wouldn't say local because things were far back then, but you go to your Hakka restaurant, right? Back then, shout out to Ling Garden. It's a staple, and unfortunately it had closed down, but that was a huge staple in our household that we used to go to. There was not many burger places back then like there were now. We only had Joe's Burgers in Richmond Hill. If you wanted, your home style Indian or Pakistani cuisine, Indo-Pak, right? You had to go to Gerrard Street. You had to go to Lahore Tikka House. As someone who took their grandparents out every Sunday, that's where we were at. We were at Gerrard every single Sunday, probably up until we graduated from elementary school. You got your sugarcane juice, you got your corn, and you got your butter chicken.
Call it a night.
Yeah, call it a night, right? But I'm from the early 2000s and onwards, we have just seen a massive wave of halal restaurants opening up left, right, and center. I mean, imagine before you had to drive places. Yeah. Now it's outside your doorstep.
Outside your doorstep now.
And the thing is, it's we can call it. It's more commercialized. A lot of even mainstream franchise restaurants offer halal food. We grew up with Popeyes, right? Yeah. Popeyes was one of the first big chains that had halal food available to us, to the masses, right? So, I mean, that was just the first step of the great food scene in Toronto. Yeah,
and then there's so many options with the same, like you said, Popeye. Now there's like Church's, there's Mary Brown's. There's so many options that you can explore. But talk about one of your most memorable experiences, whether it was a dine-in restaurant with your family, old restaurant, new restaurant, whatever. What was one of your most memorable experiences in that case?
Most memorable experiences for me personally, place near Donlands and O'Connor, RajKapuri.
Yeah,
RajKapuri has it's always been in my life. Yeah. it always will be in my life. Yeah. The place has never changed. Yeah. You walk in there, it's the same pink wallpaper with white tiles. The floor is still brown tiles, and you'll always get a Vimto when you get there. And the donair recipe has not changed. And you can't go wrong with kebab and mogo over there. Like, it's just, it's the best times I've had. Yeah. If my parents are feeling fried fish, nostalgic, they'll go there. Some of the best times of my life have been at RajKapuri.
I've been there a few times earlier on, and then right beside that there was Simba Grill, which was one of my favorites. I don't know if it's still open right now, but man, those ribs, probably one of the best I've had in the city.
Yeah, so Simba Grill is still open.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the original owner, God rest his soul, he passed away. But it's nice to see that his family is still continuing on his legacy. I mean, some places, there's such staples that they have loyal customers for life. And the thing is, they've done so much for the community, whether the Ismaili community, the Ishnashi community, everything under the Islamic umbrella, they've been doing it. They've been doing justice for that as well.
No, fair enough. Talk about some of the hidden gems or underrated restaurants, or even takeout places that the audience can explore in the holidays this season. What are some places that maybe we've never heard of, but you've been to and you've recommended?
So keep in mind, being in the halal food scene, everything is like subjective. This is my list. Don't shoot me in the comments. But these are some places that I enjoy going to. One of the biggest things right now for me is Orient Express, and they have Omni Noodle House. So just a nice fresh bowl of noodle soup with high quality beef. That always been hitting the spot. And some of the locations have like dumplings, beef and lamb. So that's just put some chili oil. Thank me later. I'm a huge fan of pizza places. Still, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a halal pizza place. I like cheese pizza just as it is, or even some good vegetarian options. So some of the best places that I've gone to recently, Maker's Pizza. It's one of my favorite places right now. Their cheese pie is really good. And if you want to try something different, so they have something called the Frank's Best Pie. And it has different types of cheeses.
Take notes, man.
Caramelized onions, and they finish it off with like a honey and sesame crust.
Where is it located?
They have a bunch of locations all over the place. It's a franchise. It's a franchised location. They have a couple places in downtown. They opened up one in Thornhill recently.
Nice.
So definitely go check it out. If you want nostalgia galore, listen, I still go to Lahore Tikka House. Like it's just. When was the last time? Yeah, when was the last time you went to that part of the city? It's just crazy to see like. When you go back to these old neighborhoods, how much they've expanded,
I know.
how much things have changed. We have kids now. We can tell them the stories that our parents told us. Back in the day, this is what the area looked like and whatnot as well. So those type of things. But another place I would say is, and a lot of people not have gone to yet, is Barrans Turkish restaurant.
We talked about that earlier.
All you can eat meat, Brazilian steakhouse style, I guess you could call it, but in the Turkish style of food, amazing. Amazing. Can't go wrong.
No, we're talking about Turkish restaurants. There's so many restaurants that have opened up recently, cafes, restaurants, you name it. I guess some of the places that I've been to, I grew up when I was younger in Scarborough, so in the Flemington Park area. So back then there were still a few places that were halal that we could go to, and it was, just a couple of minutes away, Thorncliffe area. But now when I go back there, holy, there's so many options, and I mean some places that I can rhyme off probably in that Scarborough area. There's a place called, it's a Mandi place. I forget the name of it, but it's located near the mosque over there, near Iqbal Foods. And then if you go a bit more towards where the pizza line area is, obviously there's Patna Kebab House, which is like my staple for Nihari, right? Pizza Line, which is the OG for pizza. So many places that I can think of, but those are two of my favorites, I would say, growing up. I used to go there a lot.
So for me, again, we only had a certain amount of places. Pizza Land, you mentioned, first OG
classic,
halal pizza place. And it's one of the only pizza places. Again, I'm a pizza purist. That's why I suggested Makers. But like, if I want meat on my pizza, I'm going to Pizza Land. And I think a close second or even tie would be Crown Pizza.
Right over here, man.
When they originally had opened up, in the Markham Scarborough border, right at Kennedy and Steeles, like. That's pizza and wings every Friday night. That's what it was. That was our treat every single Friday. We would get pizza and wings. It was perfect. You can't go wrong with that.
Crown for me and my wife, that's probably our go-to comfort food. So almost it was like every Friday night thing where it's like, what do you want to eat? Especially in COVID. It's like, okay, let's order Crown, Philly cheesesteaks. And it had to be spicy Philly cheesesteak sandwich with like barbecue, honey garlic wings. Poutine was like a must, right? And I was there just last week, and it's actually right beside my office, so it's very tempting
Yeah.
to go every time at lunchtime. But I gotta control myself. But it's one of my, if not the most favorite comfort food place. Another place that I really like that I've been to quite a while is Restaurant Malaysia. So I'm not sure if you're into Malaysian food, but
I'm into all food.
Okay, there you go. So I go through these phases where, like, if I like something, I will just, go to continuously.
Yeah.
I had a Paramount phase back in the day.
Yeah.
I had the Crown phase. I still have the Crown phase, and now I'm in the Restaurant Malaysia phase. So
Yeah.
that place for me is probably, I would say, number one. But it's funny, when I first went there 10 years ago, I hated it, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, because it was a bit of a different. I've never had that before, right?
Yeah.
And I was very, like, reserved as to what I wanted to eat. So
Yeah.
like pizza land, shawarma, like that was like, But then I started exploring more. Then I went there again with my family. Well, this is amazing,
Yeah.
right? And now, like, they're almost every other week. So
Keep in mind, immigrant background,
Yeah.
you stick to what you know.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? It's like when people go to Paris for the first time,
Yeah.
they're going to eat McDonald's because
Yeah.
it's just they just know about it, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to try to explore. Now,
Yeah.
now us being older, you don't get steak well done anymore, do
Yeah,
you? Right?
yeah.
You get a nice
Medium.
you get a nice cut, you get it medium
Right.
rare. You actually have a steak
Exactly.
the way it's supposed to be eaten, right?
Exactly.
Not like the way we've grown up, like
Yeah, yeah.
everything well done, everything fully
Yeah,
cooked,
yeah.
right? We've come to a point where we're appreciating food on another level.
right,
We grew up eating either Indo-Pak food,
Yeah.
East African cuisine for me,
yeah,
and or Middle Eastern or Arabic food,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, we've had the shawarmas, we've had the Afghan restaurants, and everything under the belt.
Yeah.
But now you see so many more restaurants
Yeah.
coming out, Malaysian restaurants that are halal.
Right.
Hakka has been there for years,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
different than regular Chinese food.
Yeah.
It's Hakka Chinese. It's that fusion. It's like
Yeah.
the first. I call it the first fusion meal.
Right.
Right. Because you get the different, Indian and Pakistani spices and everything
Yeah,
in
yeah.
there. Now we're getting a slew of
Yeah.
Turkish and Mexican restaurants
yeah.
just coming out of the woodwork
Right.
that are all halal.
yeah,
And it's funny, like you think of, let's take Restaurant Malaysia as an example. I recently had a great conversation with a chef
Yeah.
that happens to have Angry Wings, actually, Reza
Okay.
Jaffrey. And he's like, I want to be known as a great restaurant that
Right.
happens to serve halal food. I don't want to be a halal restaurant
Yeah.
that happens to serve good food.
right,
Right? And don't get me wrong, when the boom started happening in the early 2000s, a lot of the times if you went to the halal restaurant,
right,
you were waiting forever.
yeah,
You weren't getting your food in 20, 30 minutes at regular
Yeah.
restaurants, you were waiting half
Wow,
hour
yeah.
to an hour, right? Like service wasn't a big
Yeah,
factor for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
It was more so we're just going to produce a great
Yeah,
product, right?
yeah.
But now you see the inspiration
Yeah.
these places had on people today
Right.
that want to pursue a restaurant career or
Yeah.
become a restaurateur and open all these type of
Yeah.
places. And again, needless to say, halal meat is more expensive
Right.
than regular meats, but it just increases business as well. And because of the stuff that we do as well in the creator space, we've been able to talk to more restaurant owners and understand them a lot better. That even though it is 10 to 15, maybe 20% higher in higher in cost to go the halal route, but
you're getting more people.
You're getting more
Yeah.
people. You're increasing your business
Right.
30, 40%.
Yeah.
That says a lot, right? And especially, coming to the real estate side
Yeah.
of things, it's all about community and pockets. Before, people used to find houses that were closer to their favorite places.
Yeah.
Now, again, you walk outside your door, everything is at your disposal
Yeah.
halal-wise.
Right.
And that's why they literally call Toronto like the mecca of the
Yeah.
halal food
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
Like, we are still undefeated, and hopefully
Undefeated.
we'll stay undefeated.
Yeah, I hope my cousins in Houston are listening, because I know you guys are coming up the ranks, but Toronto is still number one, so got a long way to go. But
it's also good to hear
yeah.
other places in
Yeah,
North
yeah.
America,
Cities are
like
like
their
just-
food scenes
Yeah,
is
yeah.
coming up. Like
Yeah.
Dearborn has been
Right,
one
right.
of the closer places to us.
Yeah,
And massive food scene and
Yeah.
everything over there, and it's great because again we talk about community. That massive,
Yeah.
Middle Eastern Arab community over
Yeah, the
there.
influx, yeah.
They
Yeah, yeah.
just like we have the numbers. We
Right,
can open
right.
up these places, and the thing is, it's not like people are competing with each other. People are opening up a restaurant, and people are supporting the restaurants. And don't get me wrong, people out there in Houston area, I've been hearing crazy things.
It's coming, man.
About over there, and people are like, you have to come check out the food.
I would highly
Houston,
recommend it.
And I love good ribs and barbecue. Don't get me wrong, right? That's what you think about when you hear about Texas and whatnot as well.
No, shout out to Houston. You guys are coming. It's coming. Speaking on that topic, actually, when it comes to the restaurant experience, so taking into the food quality, the service, the ambiance, what are some places that you recommend that encompass all of these things in the halal food scene?
That's
a tough question.
It is a tough question. I mean, again, there's so many different places. We've been seeing a lot more high-end restaurants. Cannot remember the Babalos is one of them. It's amazing ambiance. You're getting that fusion Middle Eastern cuisine. Like you're getting an elevated Middle Eastern cuisine. Those type of places. To be honest with you, Lahore Tikka House, I still think people think I still think it's a hole in the wall place. It's not necessarily a trash place, but like you feel like you're back home. It gives you that vibe. That vibe is right. And I think that's what it is all about restaurants.
I still think they have the best kebabs in the city. To be honest with you,
1000%.
The marination, the meat quality. Like I still think, honestly, it is the best place for kebabs for me.
100%. And then what are some other places like in terms of like ambiance and everything too? Again, it's great to see some of these franchise places really focus on their background of choice, I guess you could say. One place, I really like this place in Mississauga. It's called Manusha. It's in the same area, same plaza as Maddox Bistro and Nani's Gelato. And it's a Turkish Manaish restaurant, and everything is made fresh over there. And it just, you talk about ambiance, the decor, everything. It's just a beautiful place. Definitely go check it out. The good thing about that place is it's not only Manaish, and with like za'atar and whatnot too. They do fresh bread with their sandwiches. Don't get me wrong, I love a good Crown Philly cheesesteak, but like you talk about bread quality, they have a wicked Philly cheesesteak there as well. Just really hits the spot.
I guess it depends on what mood you're in, right? Like if you're in the mood to stay in and just kind of chill out and watch a movie, then you're the Crown. If you want to go out with the family, have a good experience, you have these places as well, right? Okay, so we talked about favorite pizza place. I'm a huge pizza guy too. Tell me a few places that you'd recommend for a good burger in the city. Again,
my list. Don't shoot me. But again, it's more subjective. So for me right now, again, you go through these phases like you mentioned. Right now, my favorite burger place is going to go to Burgers Park. Near Fairview Mall, right at Vic Park in that 401 area. Wow. Just wow. And it's very similar to like, it gives you Shake Shack vibes. If you've been to Shake Shack before, they use peanut oil when they're cooking, but it's a burger that I go and I don't substitute anything. I let the chef do their thing, make it as is. A close second for me only, don't shoot me in the comments, it's Salties. Salties, to make everything over there fresh as well, including their bread. I really like it. Now, if we're going through the other side of the burgers, like smash burgers, it's a tie but between Oklahoma Burger in Mississauga and Super Smash Burger in Markham. I think both places have their own vibes going on. Super Smash, ambiance, decor, the place is wicked. Like you're walking into a video game. When you go over there. Pictures. I haven't been there yet, though. Again, really simple, really straightforward, great food, great service, and everything as well. So those are my top picks for the burger places right now.
Okay, let's talk about steaks. We mentioned steaks before. What are some of your go-tos for steak restaurants?
So again, when we talk about when we talk about the beginning scenes of the halal food scene, you had to drive to Affy's. You had to drive to Affy's out in Pickering first, and then luckily they opened up one in Scarborough. But you had to drive to Affy's first. So Affy's was the first ever good steak place halal that I've had. But then again, I don't even go to Affy's for the steak anymore. I'm going for those ribs. And again, just we'll combine the whole ribs and steak everything together. But again, now you have crazier high-end restaurants. You have Ruths Chris, you have Jacob's Steakhouse that are just they have
The high
halal
end.
on deck.
Yeah.
Forget about calling it in, doing a special order.
Yeah.
They're moving suppliers to get
Right.
these steaks more available to us.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go with Ruth.
Okay.
I love Ruths Chris Steakhouse. I think the place, especially the new location in Markham, it's just wow.
Yeah. Downtown Markham, I think.
Yeah, downtown Markham.
Okay.
Ambiance, service, all the sides.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love Jacob's. I know your side Caesar salad is amazing, but it's just the convenience of it being there in my neck of the woods, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But again, if we're talking about price points,
Right.
like you know, that's your whole budget.
Yeah.
Again, passion for cooking. Just found a good supplier for steaks.
Okay.
And I would say the best steaks that I have had recently is my own.
There you go.
And I'll come over and cook for you if you need to as well.
Nice. So something I would say more affordable would be a place like maybe Blackstone or Affy's.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think are still like really good, in my opinion.
1,000%. So again, Blackstone, I'm glad you mentioned that. You're talking about a halal-owned restaurant, a Muslim-owned restaurant, great steak, great experience.
Yeah.
I remember when I first saw it, I was like, well, this is kind of weird, like Blackstone. But once you learn how to, use the stone or whatever the case may be, it's great. Even if you don't have the Blackstone experience at the Blackstone restaurant, their regular steaks and their sauces,
it's good. It's
hit
really
the
good.
spot every single time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a go-to recommendation for people on a budget.
It is, yeah.
Let's say.
I agree. And now you have these before you had individual restaurants, but now you have plazas of food stores beside each other, and they're just rammed. Like there's Ridgeway. There's the
Lebovic in Scarborough.
Lebovich Plaza, which Chaiwal is, which Kumel and I are there almost every week. Shout out to Kumel. But so I want to round off a few places that I've been over there. Like at Lebovich, one of my go-to places is Cluck Clucks. If you've been there, please open up a location in Markham. It's about time. But Cluck Clucks is really good, and there's a place there called Karachi Express.
Yeah.
Some people like it. Some people think it's okay. For me personally, coming from Pakistan, when I go to Pakistan, the food scene there is just out of this world, right? And it's hard to replicate the desi food over here. But I would say that Karachi Express biryani is probably the closest to what I've had over compared to Pakistan Karachi. So check that out. That place is really good. I'm coming on Saturday, by the way. But other than that, what do you think about these plazas opening up? Like Ridgeway, you've been there probably?
I've been to Ridgeway. Let me rephrase that. When I say I've been to Ridgeway, I mean I've driven past it.
Okay.
Because it was very overwhelmingly packed. And the same as Lebovic Plaza as well. And Lebovic and Ridgeway are two massively different sizes, but extremely packed. It's so packed that people just park their car, get their food.
Literally.
They don't even eat inside the restaurant. They're bringing lawn chairs, parking up in the,
it's
in
an
the
experience,
parking lot.
man.
It's a massive tailgate at both of these plazas.
That's what it is.
But it is just great to see. Because again, you go back home. That's
how it is.
That's how it is. You have these lines of places. This was the food center area, and you go, you enjoy, you have fun. You hang out with your friends. You meet up. You gather, and you just make great memories.
It's a complete different experience from what we had when we were younger.
1,000%.
Now what we do is we go with the family and friends, and we'll literally order from 4 or 5 different places and just go food hopping, which is that was something that we never did before, even 5 years ago. But now we go food hopping, and you get 5 or 6 different cuisines, and you order a little bit from here and there. But it's just that experience of it is so much fun.
Exactly. And you go to a restaurant, when people ask me, even when you ask, what's your favorite places? What's this? Oh, I didn't like this place. I think every halal restaurant out there has its main dish that they're famous for, or they have other things that they have on their menu. I'm not here to tell you hard reviews. I'm not here to tell you a place is 3 out of 10 or a place is 6 out of 10. There are places that some people don't like, but there's that one dish on there I love. And I recommend it. And if you don't like it, it's not for you. That's fine. You go to Karachi Express, not because it's the best place, but it's a place that feels good for you. Right? At the end of the day. Yeah, exactly. Right? And again, to see these plazas opening up, it's just, there's going to be more. There's still more coming. And again, I read this study. It's Dave's Hot Chicken all throughout North America. They use a halal supplier. and they went through maybe 10 to 15 different vendors
Yeah.
in terms of picking out their chicken
Right.
that they were going to use for all the restaurants. And it just so happened that they chose a halal supplier.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because it was a halal supplier. It's
Yeah.
because it was the best quality of chicken
Yeah.
that they could get in terms of juiciness, tenderness, fry quality, all those type of things.
Yeah.
You're talking about a multinational franchise
Yeah, yeah.
that went with a halal vendor for those reasons of the
Right.
quality of the meat.
Just for the quality.
Yeah, and again, you'll see a wave of restaurants coming out,
Yeah.
like franchise restaurants coming out, that are just going to follow suit
Yeah.
because the market's there for it.
Yeah. True. Okay. I thought of a question on the spot right now, which
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you.
Go ahead.
And that is, if there was only one restaurant left in the world,
Oh.
you had to choose, what would that be?
I've been asked this question before multiple
Yeah.
times. It's going to be Hakka.
Okay.
Like Hakka is
Yeah.
is my go-to.
Right.
Like it's just, who doesn't like a good
Yeah.
Hakka lunch special for $10? You know,
Especially in this economy,
Hakka.
man.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be Hakka.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You get all your nutritional values.
Yeah.
You get your different steaks. You get your different proteins.
Yeah.
You get your meats. You can go for noodles one day.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Do you take risks when you go there to order, or you have like, okay, this is going to get the crispy beef or the Manchurian?
It's the Manchurian chicken.
Okay.
It's the Manchurian
That's it.
chicken and crispy ginger beef.
Right.
Those are the two go-tos.
Okay.
And one of each, right? I got the chicken dish, I
Yeah,
got the
yeah.
beef dish. And sometimes I'll feel, adventurous. I'll go with the fried rice sometimes, or I'll just go with simple plain rice,
rice.
depending on how adventurous I'm feeling
Yeah.
that day. Right? Keep it
Nice.
simple, right?
Yeah.
And noodles, always go beef.
Oh, yeah,
Something
yeah.
with the beef fat, rendering with the noodles.
It's different. I agree.
Yeah,
I
it's a
agree.
different effect.
I always go beef with the noodles too,
There you
so
go.
we're on the same page. Okay, next question. It's a Friday night. It's cold outside, winter. You're with the family, going to put on a movie. What is your go-to takeout?
Go-to takeout,
Yeah.
comfort food at home, don't want to do any cooking,
Yeah.
it's going to be chicken wings.
Okay.
Right now, as of this very moment, it's going to be angry wings.
Okay.
Let alone, I do have a personal relationship with Joffrey.
Yeah.
Recently, we've become good friends,
Yeah.
but his wings just hit. Funny enough, he's always come from a restaurant background.
Yeah.
He tried a corporate 9-to-5 job,
Right.
hated it, and just went back to his roots in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
He's managed restaurants. He's owned a burger place in the
Right.
past, and now he's doing chicken wings.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just do chicken wings. He does chicken sandwiches. He does fresh cut fries,
Okay.
chicken tenders, and all his sauces are all in-house homemade.
Nice.
It hits the spot. Hot honey for life
Okay.
at Angry Wings, guys. It's super, super good.
Where is that located?
And that's located in Richmond Hill, right near Bayview and Major Mac.
Okay.
Right
Oh.
across the
Yeah.
Newkirk GO station.
Gotcha. I'll check that up.
Yeah.
That's a new place as well?
Yeah, that's
Just
a new
opened
place. And I think they've only been in business for less than a year.
up? Okay, nice.
Yeah, and again, hits the spot.
Are you a big Indian Pakistani food fan?
Huge Indian
Yeah?
Pakistani
What's
food
your go-to
fan.
for that?
There's that one place in Markham that I've been
Yeah.
going to recently. Like premium Lahore kebab house, right?
Yeah. That's like
Yes.
Middlefield and Steeles. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. That's been my go-to
Really?
recently.
Okay. Yeah.
For like the Indo-Pak cuisine.
Yeah.
I've never had a bad meal there yet.
Yeah.
Service is really great
Nice.
over there as well too. It's been hitting the spot. If I can't drive to Lahore Tikka House
Yeah,
all the way
that
down
is
there,
your-
I'm going to Premium Kebab House.
Nice, awesome. Few more questions I had for you
Yeah.
is in terms, we talked about wings, pizza, steak. Have you noticed anything that is outside of the general scope that we normally see in terms of cuisine? Like, is there anything that's been so unique that you would say this is some place that, maybe you have never tried before? Like for me, it was Malaysian food, right? Something that you can think of that is totally different from the normal cuisine, but would recommend going to.
So there's a couple of things I've noticed. A lot of more fine dining restaurants have
Yeah.
been opening up. But I would say an underrated cuisine that not a lot of people talk about is the Uyghur cuisine.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
Uyghur
yeah,
cuisine.
yeah.
And there's different spots.
Right.
I can't remember some of the names off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But that type of cuisine is just super unique
Yeah.
to the Uyghur people.
Right.
And it is fantastic food.
Yeah.
I think every restaurant I've gone to that serves it, they have great background stories.
Yeah.
And everyone likes to hear a good story.
Right,
Like everyone
right.
likes to hear a good come up.
Yeah.
And that's just been
Okay.
an amazing cuisine to experience
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
haven't experienced yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you one place to go.
Right.
Check them all out across the city.
Yeah.
Just great. And also recently, a lot of Palestinian restaurants
Yeah.
have just been knocking it out of
Okay.
the park.
Yeah.
I heard that there's a new backyard barbecue place that opened up downtown, and they opened up one in Mississauga.
Yeah.
That's Palestinian owned. There's a couple of cafes that are now Palestinian
Nice.
owned. One cafe I will recommend is Royal Tea Cafe in Scarborough.
Yeah.
It's right at Kennedy and Ellesmere area. They do a wicked. They do actually all East African blend coffees.
Yeah.
They have their own roaster in house, and they do a mean pastrami sandwich. From East Meets West, the supplier. And who doesn't like a good East Meets West deli sandwich as well? So there you go.
Yeah. Favorite dessert spots that you can think of?
That one's tough.
Yeah.
There's so many coming out of the woodworks, and before when we used to go, it used to be Dimitri's. Don't get me wrong, because it was the spot to go to. D Spot, great to see their come up as well. I still remember the original location at the Lebovic Plaza, and now they're everywhere. It's similar to again, you have a place called like Dimitri's that are doing all these things. Now you have a place like D Spot doing the exact same thing, and you go to support. And then you have a lot of the new Asian dessert places that have just been really, really good. I would get my main recommendation right now for dessert, Nani's Gelato. If not a huge, don't get me wrong, I love my cakes, I love my waffles and everything too. D Spot's a good place to go, but Nani's Gelato, wow! Like you go to these places, you try different flavors, and and like gulab jamun ice cream or this and that. It's just it's amazing to see like our influences, our cultural influences in these type of foods.
I would say. So for me, dessert places, D Spot definitely is up there. There's so many that are around right now, especially there's one like a couple close to my house. Dimitri's is good, but D Spot I like it because you get the halal food as well. Where you can have dessert, you can have a poutine, you can have pizza. And overall, it's a pretty good experience as well, and the ambiance is nice as well. So D Spot is a place I would definitely check out. Last question I had for you was, before you had Mississauga as like the main hub for food, and then you had Scarborough, but now like Richmond Hill, Markham, Vaughan, like they're not far behind.
No, not
like,
far behind.
Why do you think that is? Is it because people are just kind of spreading out? Or
I think, again, it goes back to the point, like we used to drive places to get food growing up. And now it's just, I think people are just seeing the convenience of where people are coming from. I know a lot of times when you go to these restaurants, a lot of times the chef or the owner or the host, they ask people, hey, where are you from? And some people will say, oh, we're from Toronto, but we're out in the East End or the West End. And it's like, wow. And then some business owners are like, well, maybe we should open there, right? Because, other people from different mosque communities are like, you got to open there. There's so many people there. Everyone comes here, just make it more convenient over there. And that's what it is for people, right? And again, a lot of places have like sister restaurants and whatnot too. Big cuisine for me right now is Thai food as well. Similar to the Thai food with Malaysian influence, Hakka influences. Chiang Rai in Markham.
Okay, I've never been there. Markham.
Chiang Rai, Markham, Kennedy and 14th. Get the Islamic noodles with beef. Thank me later.
All right.
It's just hits the spot every single time.
There's another place that opened up on Brimley and Steeles. They have a place in downtown. I'm forgetting the name. It's also Indonesian food? Yes,
Sukhothai. Sukhothai just opened up here.
What do you think about that?
And again, I just, actually funny enough, I just went there a couple weeks ago in Markham. Still, same consistency with food from the downtown location. And again, it's just closer to home. You don't got to drive all the way downtown, right?
Exactly.
Right? Not to say that you shouldn't drive places, guys. Support businesses all over the place. Go out with your friends. You'd have to try different places, whatnot as well. I hate when people say it's too far. Nothing is far. It's worth it.
It's worth it.
It's part of the adventure.
Exactly.
I guess you could say.
Exactly. So finally, any honorable mentions of places that we maybe missed out on that you could recommend to our audience that we haven't talked about already?
This is going to be tough. Again, this is my list. There's a place they do wicked kebab rolls in Brampton. Taza Taste. Simple, really straightforward, nice kebab rolls with paratha. I'm gonna also go with, again, Chiang Rai. I think it's an underrated place that a lot of people don't know about or still don't even go to. Wow, this is tough. This is really tough. Baba Calzones in Vaughan. Wow. Really good stuffed calzones. Everything's halal over there as well.
Nice.
Hits the spot every single time. Yeah, I think that's those are my main ones right now. This is really on the spot. Again, I travel all over the place. So
there's so many, right?
There's like, so many places now, and I don't think it's so difficult because now with TikTok and Instagram, that's how I'm getting my places. I see a place, I add it to my list. If I'm in the area, I'll go.
Right.
Chard.
Okay.
Chard is a place out in Mississauga.
Yeah.
Really great. Yeah. They have it's more like what's it called, the Chipotle style of ordering. You know, they have different options for your bowls and whatnot as well. Really great food. They have different versions of different meats with whether it's Korean influence or East African influence. Really great food over there as well.
Nice. For me, I would say one of the staples in our community is Crispies, which is at Highway 7 McCowan. I mean, Wednesday's chicken sandwich special at $7. Can't go wrong. So that's one of my go-tos. Other go-tos that I would recommend is Ali's Brat Rolls at Lebovich Plaza, which is really good.
But you know, talking about like, man, even Chaiwala, like
Chaiwala,
it's a great place. Honestly, like. It is. I think for my parents or just every aunt and uncle right now, that's just the go-to dessert place too, right? They have some dessert items and everything too, but like, you know, no one wants to make chai at home anymore, and that's just the next best thing. I guess
and it's the experience, right? You go with your friends, and then, I mean, we go to Chaiwala, then we usually go to Karachi Bazaar for Paan afterwards.
There you go.
So it just becomes a nice experience for the whole family. But that was a lot of fun, man. Thanks so much for that. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And if you guys want any more recommendations, he's the man. Check him out on social media, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, guys.